My name's Nadav and I love to rock climb. Okay, so I was about 7.5 years old, and I'd been climbing trees like in my neighborhood. And because of that, my dad just one day brought up why don't we go to a climbing gym? He had climbed. He wasn't a big climber, but he'd climbed a couple times before, and he just thought it'd be something I enjoyed. And so that day, we went to the gym. And I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't the best experience. And I think that's just because I'm hard on myself. Because I was falling on the easiest climbs in the gym, I didn't expect to do that. And so I got frustrated. I was hard on myself. But my kind of thing is that even when I get frustrated, it only makes me want to go again. I want to sort of make up for myself getting frustrated. And so yes, I did get frustrated. But I went again anyways. I was begging my dad to take me again. And over time I started to enjoy it a lot more. And yeah, eventually I just fell in love with it. I joined a climbing team. It was called Progression Climbing. And that team I stayed on for about 4 years. And eventually I made climbing nationals and placed 7th. And just overall, after that first day, I just kept wanting to go back. I started to just really love the act of problem solving and figuring out how to do a climb. That's why I kept climbing, because I just really love that. Something really exciting that happened to me when I was climbing, and this was my first real injury in climbing. I haven't had any bad injuries, but this was my only one where I had to stop climbing for a couple weeks. And so it was about a year ago, and I was in this really incredible place called Hueco Tanks. It's in El Paso, Texas, and it's just basically there's 4 giant piles of rocks, and there's just thousands upon thousands of boulders to try to climb. And on top of one of these piles of rocks, there's this really famous climb. It's called C-Spot Run. It's this incredible boulder. It's at least 25 feet tall, I'd say, maybe 40 degrees overhanging. And it's just this really cool line of fairly in-cut crimps, fairly big moves. And I hiked up this rock and looked at this climb, and I was just oh my God, I have to try it. The difficult thing about the climb is that it's 25 feet tall, and so the risk is pretty high. And the special thing about this climb is that the last move is the crux. It's about a 3-foot jump from a pretty good crimp to another really good crimp, and at that point you're about 20 feet up, and by 20 feet up I mean your feet are 20 feet off the ground. And so almost immediately when we arrived there, I set up the pads. I probably didn't set them up super well, and I got on the boulder. I climbed through the first moves, they felt fine, and then I was there on the last move, the crux move, the jump. And I'm not sure what it was, but I think I got in my head. And I looked down, I saw that I was 20 feet up, and I didn't want to commit to the move. And I just fell. I just fell 20 feet, landed on my ankle, sprained my ankle. That was my climbing moment. When you're climbing at the top of these boulders, you don't expect to fall. You're just I'm gonna do the hard part, and then I'm just gonna top it out 20 feet up, and I'm gonna be fine. But I always wondered what would happen if I actually did fall. Would it kind of mess up my climbing a little bit? And this was my climbing moment because I fell and everything happened that would be expected. I got injured. I didn't climb for the next month, but that only made me want to keep climbing more. All I was thinking about over that month where I didn't climb was I want to go back climbing again. I want to do more outdoor bouldering. I don't care how tall the boulders are. And that just made me realize how much I actually love the sport. I didn't realize it in such a profound way up to that point. And yeah, that's why that was my moment.